Hi, today I want to talk about monthly strategy. I think this is so important to put strategy behind our business, otherwise, we will not get to the goals that we have. And so, one way to do that is to really visualize what it is that you want to have happen in your business. And so, I created this tool to help me to visualize, and I think it will help you also. And so, I want you to think about what are the goals that you do have, and we have to put some kind of number on it, and putting a dollar sign on it is helpful because then we're all talking on the same page. So I'm going to show an example. If I have a goal of a monthly income of $7,520, I know part of that money is going to come from my group volume, and part of it is going to come from the organizational volume. And so I know that if I want $7,520, I know that the group volume is going to be at 1,300. And so what I do is I figure out if the 1,300 is my month goal, I divide that by the number of days in the month. So I'm going to divide it by 31, and that gives me a 419 daily goal. So that's like 4 to 5 orders. So I was thinking about, if I was starting off fresh, if I was new in Shaklee and I wanted to promote, then what I would do is I would think about this as a tool. You're going to be bringing prospects and existing members. You're going to onboard them through your days to create the goal that you have. And so week 1, you're going to be bringing people through. Week 2, you're going to be bringing people through, and you're going to choose what events that you're going to invite them to. And perhaps you will have 1, 2, 3, 4 events, whatever you'll choose each week. And so you're going to do that. You're going to be bringing these people right through. And so how do we set these goals? Basically, what we're going to do is look at the right over here, and I'm just going to take you through. If a new person is promoting to sales leader, and we know that 3,000 is the amount that they're going to promote with. And so basically, that's the number that we're looking at. And so what kind of income does that generate? It's going to generate a little over $1,000. Okay, so I can fill out this part and this part. So pause the video and put in your group volume, and then divide it by 31 so you know what your daily is right here, and then put out what income that's going to give you. And you know that you take that 3,000 and you times it by 36%, because that's what a director, the first rank in Shaklee, will earn. So that'll give you a good estimate of the money. Pause the video now. Good, so I'm glad you're back. And then how many orders would 3,000 give you divided by 100? That's going to give you 30 in a month. And say you're someone who's at 2,000 right now. Well, let's figure out how we're going to get up to that 3,000. Well, that's going to be between 10 and 11 new members, right? So the goal of new sponsorship would be 11. And then what about those star bonuses? What's the biggest amount of star bonuses that I could earn if I sponsored 11 people? Well, I could get 3 at 150, 3 in a month at 150, 3 in a month, 3 times, right? So that would give me $450, and and that would be 9 people. I'd still have 2 more left. So depending on how Shaklee pays those bonuses, that'll either generate $450 or $450 plus that additional 50 for the extra 2. So pause the video now and fill that out. Good, glad you did it. Now we're coming on back. Now we want to figure out our weekly goal. This is a very important point, because there are times at the beginning of the month where maybe if you're not going as fast as you need to, then by the time you hit to day 22, you're like freaking out because you're not anywhere near your goal and you're like, oh my gosh. And then you're trying to invite frantically and all stressed out. And do you think that invite would be very successful? Probably not. So instead, you want to invite with hope and peace and consistency. You want to invite with the effort on that other person so you can really meet their needs. And so in order for that to happen, we need to get the work done up here and here and here in a consistent manner so that when we reach the end of the month, we actually get the goal that we wanted. And so for that to happen, I like to take that goal and divide it out. And so if I have a goal of each day bringing in 97 volume, that means I'm going to take 97 times 3, and that's going to give me 291 for that week. And then the next week, I'm going to take 97 and I'm going to times it by 10. So by the 10th day of the month, I'll be at 970. And the 17th day, I times it out, and 17 times 97, and you can see it's 1649. And then 2328, and then that puts us a little over 3,000 for the end of the month. So pause the video, figure that out right now. Good job. So we're back, and we're going to talk about number of orders. If it's 11 additional orders that we have here, that's really helpful, but we want 30 total orders. And so I did the same thing. I took 30 and just divided it out and came up with, okay, that's 3 by the end of that first week, 10 by the end of that second week, 16, 23, 30. And then I did the same thing with sponsorships. So if I want 11 total, I just, put 3 here by the end of that full week, and 3 and 3 and 2. So go ahead and pause the video and fill out the orders and the sponsorships now. Good job. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the star bonuses. And again, I just, estimated on this part here, and I said by the end of that first full week, I'd like to have 3, and then 3 again the next, and 3 again the next, and that would put me right where I need to be. So that's really good. So, and then for the income goal, I did put an additional 150 for each time I got the 3 star. And you know what that did? Check this out. Instead of $1,080, it actually made it so that by the end of the month, look, we'd have $1,530 because Jacqueline's going to pay the star bonuses too. And that's pretty cool. So let's pause the camera and fill out your stuff now. Okay, so you're probably wondering as you're looking on this, you're like, sweet, now I know where I'm going each week. And then you're like, okay, what about these prospects and existing members? Who am I going to put there so that I can invite them over here, right? So there's another sheet, and this I always print off on the other side of my paper. And I call it my monthly strategy, and I put my lovelies in my group in here. And down below, I have listed the things that I can invite people to. And there's a ton of room for more brilliant ideas that you have that you can put in there. And so look at this. I just put a few people. I want you to pause the camera in a moment here, and you're going to be listing the first, maybe 5-7 people that you thought of. And then I want you to do another thing, and it's going to help a lot. It's called Circle of Influence. And for Betty, like at least 4 people so that I have groups of 500, right? So Betty then would have 100 volume, and then Stan, her husband, there's another 100, and then Jenny, her sister, Mary, her mom, and Fred, her dad. And we know, I know through talking to Betty that Jenny has some allergies, her mom's got some problems with their skin, and her dad, and joints, and her dad has a problem with the back. So that would be a great circle of influence. They could help each other. And then I noticed here too, Eli has a fiance, Tanisha, and who is very athletic, and she wants to be very strong for her wedding. And then Zach is Tanisha's brother, and then Chris is actually Eli's cousin, and Sylvia is Eli's colleague. So there's a great circle of influence right there. And then we have Jacob, and Jacob has a wife named Alicia, a brother or a basketball player friend named Ted, and Mandy is actually Ted's girlfriend, and then Jill goes to church with them. So the reason I put these little numbers behind here, and I'm actually going to move those numbers to the next specialty webinar section here, it's because Betty and Eli and Jacob all have number 7, which is the cleanse. And then you can see Sue is interested in the yeast on the run, and Dan is interested in number 13, which is the get clean. And then the others listed on there are number 3, they're the better use. So what I want you to do now when you pause the camera is I want you to list the names, make sure you have some referrals listed, guess on it, you know, you'll talk to them and you'll find out more. You'll ask good questions to find out who they know, but you can guess right now on some of those people, and then you can go ahead and start filling in the next specialty topic right here by looking down below. Pause the camera and do it now. Good, very good. So my next step that I like to do is I just put the names right over here, and I add them into my calendar area, and then I think about, these are the committed presenter times, and I actually am a committed presenter quite a bit because I'm in a growth mode, and so I'm gonna just mark off, I know Thursday nights, I know that Thursday during the day, I'm also a committed presenter, okay, and Wednesday, I know I have a time frame in there, but I'm going to delete that one off here because the first starts on Thursday. And then I know that on Saturdays during the middle of the day, I have one. And then on Mondays, partway through the day and in the evening, the Mondays I'm committed on. And then Tuesday night, Thursday night, Wednesday during the day. I could do a Thursday during the day, and I could do a Saturday during the day. So you'll identify the times on here that you're going to do. You might have 1 a week, 2 a week, 3 a week, you know, depending on what your goal is. And so put in your times and then put the people where they're going to go. We're going to do a spa on the 22nd. And so that's a special one. So I put that on there. And I would like to have Eli and Jacob, say Betty, those 3 who are doing the cleanse, say Betty can make it on this time for the cleanse. Janet, I get a hold of her and she can make it down here. And then I get a hold of Eli and he can make it on this one. So like now my calendar's starting to fill up. Sue is going to be able to do this one. Dan can do this one. Jacob or Janet can do this one. So like, and then I'm going to start getting a group here, others that can also make those same times, so that I'm not presenting just to one person all the time. I'm getting little groups. So you're going to pause the camera and go ahead and put your names here, figure out what you want to invite them to, and start getting some inviting done. Glad you're back. And let's talk about this. Oh yeah, up at the top of your monthly strategy sheet, you're going to see the group volume in circles. And you can see here that just by having these people right here getting introduced to Shaklee and creating their circle of influence, the group is large. Look how large that is. That's 17 of 30. And so this is about a 1,500 to 1,700 group. You know, it could even be a 2,000 group, a group volume right there. That's a beautiful group. And you can see how that looks. And so I want you to draw out what your group would look like as you create each one of those referrals. So go ahead and just do a practice one right now so you can start to visualize. I put, you can see I put Betty right here in this group, and then I added Stan, her husband, in directly sponsored by her. I added Jenny, her sister, sponsored directly by Betty, and then I put Mary, the mother, below Jenny. So now every time Jenny orders, Mary benefits, and every time Mary orders, Jenny benefits, and then also Betty benefits from both of those. So you want to think about how you're sponsoring people, and you want to have a conversation or a text message back and forth with your coach and the sales leader up above to make sure that you're sponsoring people in a way that benefits them the most. So pause the camera now and start working on your group volume in circles. Very good. And I wanted to show what happens. So say you did go ahead and invite those and you started to present, and then you add a few more names from your list and work on their circles of influence, and then a few more names. And look what happens up above. This is a really cool group that's developed. This is a group that's right around 3,000. And so these members then would help that sales leader that person to promote. That distributor will now be promoted. It's a solid group. You can see there's lots of referrals going on. There's lots of solid action. And so you should start to visualize what your group will look like. And there's going to be many iterations of that. But you have plenty of space there to draw that out. And so I wanted to point something out. What happens is the more that you create circles of influence, the more your members are going to respond, and certain ones are going to step up to the bat. And you can see on here that Betty absolutely stepped up because she started to sponsor a bunch of other people. You can also see that Molly's another one who really stepped up. In fact, Molly is a trainer, and she started to sponsor an awful lot of people. So that gives a strength here with Lena, and it gives a strength with Molly because Molly's in Lena's group. And so, and you can see Andrea down here is a physical therapist, and she's starting to sponsor in a bunch of clients and other physical therapists. So Lena is in a really great position because she has empowered people in her group to sponsor and refer. And that means that the next one in this group is that's going to promote is probably Lena right there. So I'm going to show you. I want you to be able to visualize that, and as your group's growing, I want you to be drawing it out so you can really see what that looks like, and adding them to your calendar. So you can see here, I've listed in, here's Lena right there, and then of course I would put the names on the events down here, and you can see now I have a very solid calendar because I have all these names listed, and I have a plan for each person. So then I know my confidence raises up because I'm like, wow, this is sweet. I have all these people. And I didn't originally know that I had all these people. I just had a blank sheet. But because I took the time to visualize it and draw those circles and do the inviting, now I have a bunch of stuff on my calendar. So I wanted to show you what happens when you model that. What happens is Lena right here actually then also gets to promote. You've modeled great behavior, and she has taken your lead and followed, and she's done it. And look at her. So then she's promoted, and what does that mean? That means that you will be rewarded with a Shaklee car, and your rank will improve, and your income will improve. So that's a really exciting place to be. So you got to know, you have to know what your start game is and your end game. So knowing like what the goal is to begin with, knowing how you're going to be moving these people through the events that you have on your calendar, and then really paying attention to each week as you're and adding in the actual numbers here each week during your weekly review, so that you know if you need to do a pivot or if you can celebrate because you're right on track or you're even ahead of the game. And then that means that when you're on the last day of the month, you're going to be able to have that celebration you want to have. So enjoy, make this happen. You can do it. And definitely, when you have this stuff filled out, contact your upline and the upline sales leader in the group so that you can show off the great work, the great strategy that you've come up with. And, your coach might have a few ideas to make it work better for you. So go do it. You can do it. Dream Life Project. Make